Yeah, jam to this shit. Where you been, baby?
Right here.
Like them dark skin. Like them light skin. Caramel, baby. I like KIY-NY-007.
Okay. Hello, welcome. This is KIY-007. First time here. Glad to have you. And anyone that's been returning, I'm really glad you came back. I am accompanied today, the good friend here on YouTube, Chaos Rain. We want to go over some relationship things, some things to do with kind of casual relations and relationships. And possibly if you're single, and then you can kind of relate to some of the topics that we're going to go over too. I'll give you a minute so you can introduce yourself.
As you know, I go by name Rain here. Welcome, right? To the special edition here on the Kai 007. So, today we're going to talk about a lot of things. As you know, this is a grown sexy hour. This is going to be one of the night editions, hopefully. But, you know, like I said, I'm willing, I'm ready. Let us get started. Stretch my hands up with my hands. Lay it all to me, sweetie.
All right. So I want to talk about relationships that have to do with cheating. Is cheating ever okay? That type of thing. What I'm hearing from the women is that when they've cheated, they're blaming their mate. And they're saying that if they were paid more attention to things like that, they wouldn't have had to go out and get it someplace else. And a lot of them are basically just blatantly stating and looking the other person in the eye, whether it's divorce court, so they're already divorcing, possibly, etc. But they really look the mate in the face and say, like, well, if you was here or if you wasn't working so much, then I wouldn't have had to cheat. And then we have the men that'll say, they don't really admit it seems like as much, but when it finally comes out, they admit that they cheated. But they usually, sometimes they'll say, something that might have just happened, or they weren't really satisfied at home. So I was wondering how, like, you feel about that. Do you, the audience, or, between me and Chaos, do we feel like it's ever okay to cheat? And if so, like, what would be the situation that seems like it's okay because you have a good reason to cheat, whether you're married or in, in a relationship? So if we could start with that.
Well, for my take on cheating, and I have done actual live streams on this personally. My point in regards to cheating, that is it right, is it wrong? Personally, in a modern society where everything's now transparent and it's very hard to hide depending on gender, and I mean the gender loosely, that people are going to explore certain options if the opportunity gives, or the opportunity presents itself. Anything you do, especially getting into this, right? You're starting a relationship with a person and you want to either long-term or even go as far as into a marriage, you have to know what you get it into. And you have to have some form of trade-offs. And I would have to agree with Mr. Chaos. There has to be some rules in play. Now, let's say the man cheat, right? And I always hear from ladies, as you know, Kai, that's what the person you ask. I always ask the ladies, okay, if your man has presented and he's actually committed what we call infidelity, and let's say we're going to deal with the marriage, what is your next recourse? Do you get up? Do you walk away and leave, and eventually come back to him and say you want a divorce? Or do you take the aggressive stance where you're going to enact what we call punishment, capital punishment to this man? And after the punishment, whatever lies, that's where, you stand with him and you. Because it's always how you handle once you find this happens. What action you take? What form of consequence you're going to take as a person to find that your mate cheated? That will be my underlying question I ask every lady. Now, I wish I had a poll on here and maybe eventually we'll put a poll on this, because depending on who's watching, who watches, to know what were people's reactions. I think that when things like this happen, you must always keep yourself in a civil manner, man or woman, that you find that your mate has cheated. Meaning that at times either you're going to stay or go. Any other form of a way you take to handle this problem, it's going to eventually, all right, the relationship's going to break, but will it make you stronger or more weaker? And trust me, I remember one person did some research on cheating, especially, and out of the percentage, it's only a 2% difference between men and women when it comes to infidelity and cheating. They said men on the average is like 26%, and as women is like 24%. Now, I'm not sure if this is based on across all races, and I'll probably ask the man if he could post it for more validation, because somebody did a little research on this. They did studies, they did testing, they do questionnaire and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of alarms me to find that women are just almost up there in regards to the cheating just as men. Now, we could go into the rabbit hole why women will cheat. One of the few things is they don't feel like they have enough to do most like the time. They could either be bored or there's something that's not being satisfied in this thing we call a relationship going into it. So instead of, taking the easy way out and just end it, she'll just go behind the back and commit what we call infidelity. So I think I answered those points. What else I'm missing? Do you reference? Because I think
No, that was good. Because I actually just jotted down a couple of things while you said that. When you mentioned that women are almost up there with with their numbers as far as cheating with the same as men. I didn't see that though. I still see men. I think men are still gonna always lead, to be honest. But that's interesting because maybe that has to do with modernizing, like the modern day that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a change. So now we're seeing women doing more than what they would have done before. Because in the traditional roles, or maybe it's the way it was always portrayed to us, they always seemed so disciplined. Everyone was calmer, more respectful. And if something happened, the woman, she dealt with it, differently, or much differently than we do nowadays. But yeah, the same reasons, that's what I was thinking. When you said boredom, that's interesting, too, that, that happens too. And I noticed too, when people don't have enough going on in their life, then they say, it's a saying that an idle mind lets the devil in. I don't want to give the devil.
Excellent. Idle time is the devil.
Yeah, I don't want to give the devil that much. I don't want to give the devil that much credit, because I still feel we have control over what we do and what we surround ourselves with. So we can't say, oh, if I had more to do. So that's crap. But I do see how it could lure you into some other things. I know like with porn, that happens with people, too. And like maybe possibly me too, to be honest. But I stay busy. And sometimes, like when you have downtime, it's like, what do you do with it? And then it kind of depends on what mood you're in. And yeah, it's kind of when it comes to that, I can't really compare myself to other people, because it is, it's just different. But yeah, so so that seems like that. Yeah, the women are lacking satisfaction, also boredom, not feeling like they're getting enough attention and things like that, so they'll get it from somewhere else. I mentioned that in the previous videos too, where particularly women really need attention. It's like not just a want, it's a need. But what I see in women, which is saddening, kind of saddening to me, is that some want so much attention that you almost can't even fill their cup. Like, I don't know what it's going to take to satisfy some women. So when it comes to them using that as an excuse, it kind of sucks because some women are getting what they deserve. They're getting good things from a man, but yet, it'll still get blamed on, what was I saying? I guess you dropped off for a second, Chaos. Yeah, it still get blamed on lack of attention, etc. All right, so I'll continue on until Chaos Rain is able to come back. So again, he's someone here that I know from YouTube, and we've gotten together and collaborated a bunch of times. We were on his channel, and he was on my channel a couple times. And what we gonna go over was just some things about relationships. So right now we're discussing cheating, and then I want to go on to red flags. I'm told, and I think I kind of see as well, red flags when they come. So it's said that everyone can sense on red flags. If we end up in a toxic or disastrous situation or relationship, sometimes it falls on us as well, even though if we're the kind of the victim of it, we did everything right, but then we got played or whatever happened in it. Everyone should take note to red flags. They're there. So that's something I wanted to talk about too. Some red flags and how important it is not to ignore them. All right. If it's something small too, you can work it out. Depends on how much you want to put into the relationship. But otherwise, red flag, it's a red flag. So aside from that, hopefully Chaos Rain will be back in to join and rejoin. I want to go over a bit of toys, just talk somewhat about sex toys and porn and how much it plays on the brain. I talked about this in a previous video too. It's called Sex Anonymous Among Us and why we like it so much, sex addiction. So I was talking about addictions, but mostly sex addiction type of thing. Reason for that is I'm seeing people feel that they can replace someone if they got a toy. Men, they have sex dolls. It was interesting to see that. I've watched them have sex with sex dolls on porn sites because I'm curious. So whatever I'm curious about, with consensual adult or adults, I'm going to watch. So I watched that and that was interesting because, it gets them to where they need to go. A lot of times it's like when you got your toy, unless you're doing more with it. Like there's a guy that brings his girlfriend, he says it's his girlfriend, he brings her out sometime and stuff like that. Aside from that, you're really using it to penetrate, and just get your ejaculation off. So with the dildos and vibrators for the women, I'm hearing them saying like, I don't need a man. I got a dildo. I got my vibrator. So what, I don't need you. What I need, that's why I'm glad I got what I got over here. And it's just like, wow. So y'all let me know how y'all feel out there, honestly, about that too. I say, and will always say, that no one can ever be replaced. A human cannot be replaced by anything. I don't care how high tech you have it. A human being is a human being. And I feel like it's adding more of a disconnect with people in their relations. Okay. If you feel like, well, you know what? I don't really got to depend on him anyway. I got that in there. It's like, okay, you can still literally screw yourself. But you have to let that go and realize, too, this is artificial. And what I'm using, I'm using this as a substitute for the real thing. There's nothing like a heartbeat. There's nothing like having your lover there, And even like with penises, your penis has like some kind of pulse to it. Like, you can feel your heartbeat in there or something, right? You can't get that nowhere else. So it's just some things that I see industries trying to replace, but it's never really going to happen. It's never really going to replace someone, So I feel like sometimes women are selling themselves short. With men, some of them too. But I just feel like what we need, you're not gonna ever get from the store, So you probably kind of just cheating yourself a bit. Especially if you plan on just being dependent and relying on that, And I'll give an example about something too. There was someone I know, and she has kids with someone that I know too, and they were together a long time, so a really long time, and they broke up, got back together, broke up, and they was back together, but the sexual thing always stayed. And she told me something too. She said, if you, she said baby mothers and baby daddies always gonna mess around. And I thought that was interesting. So I'm like, really? She said, yeah. She said they always gonna mess around. So I believe he ended up having another child too. So that added to her what she said, because she feels like, all right, he probably over there with her. He's gonna still mess around with whoever they have a kid with. But aside from that, back to more so the sex toys. She had sex toy or toys, and I remember they were back on good terms, her and her kid's father. And I remember we were talking, and she was like, yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go use my thing. So she had her, I honestly don't remember if it was an actual dildo, because that's the thing that just sits, right? And then the vibrator actually vibrates. Okay. So she has that. She was like, yeah, I'm gonna use that today or later or whatever. And he can just go on and something. And I was like, but you just was talking to him earlier, And her answer was like, yeah, we still talking everything. She was like, but I'm using that. I ain't gotta, And I was shocked, because she preferred to use her toy rather than the guy that she's back with. Even if it was kind of flip-floppy, they usually were still intimate, even if it was off and on. So, of course, that was an option for her. But she rather go in her drawer, she said. It's like, no, I'd rather just go in my drawer and get... And I was like, wow. So I'm bringing that up. And that was some years ago, but it was just interesting. Another thing I'll share a story. I know this guy, so he's a barber. And I was at the shop, and this is when I had a side business there too, so I was on the other part of the shop. And he was married, and I remember him from high school, and we were talking, and he mentioned that his wife, he was like, well, my wife don't really need me anymore anyway. She got her toys, so. And I laughed. I was like, yeah, right. And he was like, no, she does. So, she already said, something to him of that effect. And I was like, you don't believe that though, right? That you could be replaced, right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, those can't replace you. How could something that we could buy at a store ever replace you, a man? And he just looked at me like, yeah, like he kind of it looked like he felt like a little more relieved, because and when I saw that showed me that, like men have, some men feel like they can be replaced. And one thing I will say too, if you really want a man in your life, and that's the man, don't ever make him feel like he can be replaced, because he will leave. Usually he'll go. They need to know that they're needed, not just wanted. They need to know that they're needed. I've read that and heard that so many times. All right. I had to sip some tea. So, so then we just talked about that a little bit. And he was like, oh, okay. And I said, yeah. And then I thought about it too. I was like, I may be a little more judgmental with the toy thing too, because it's quite foreign. That's how I see it, And okay, checking the back chat. Oh, you there? Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know I could get private chat. Oh, okay.
No, because one thing I do, as you know, I use back chat, because I thought, so that way you continue what you're doing. No stoppage. But let's rewind back. Before we go into the sex toys, one other thing that came to my mind about the infidelity and cheating, that, as you know, when we look at male and females, we look at cheating two different ways. As you know, Kai, you always hear this notion that when a dude cheats, right? You always say, do you feel any empathy or anything? 9/10 times, some dudes will say, maybe yeah, but some don't, because there's no real connection when it comes to the sex.
Yeah. Okay.
And be honest with you, that's kind of a good thing when it comes to a man, because if he's able, let's say, to get access to Yoni, and a woman presents it, a man will take it, and he doesn't really have no attached result. That's why when I did this test, and I present this test to you, for a lot of people, we're just going to diverge from the conversation for a second, but I want y'all to follow me. I told this one young lady this. We are going to do the New York stop and present test. What I mean by this, you as a man, you as a woman, both of you go outside your normal environments and go into the streets of New York City. And I like to use New York as a good example because there people walk around every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You as a lady, you go present yourself and tell every dude that confronts you or you confront them, saying, "Hey, you're cute. You want to fuck?" Now, mind you, listen to the psychologist. 9 10 out of time, a dude will look at it, depending on the woman, and depending on it's gonna go straight to his dick. He's gonna say, "Sure." Okay. Now, you as a man, you go in New York streets, present yourself in a pretty decent manner, dress decently, etc. Right? And you pose questions to the same woman. Be more one with this lady. Say, "Oh, hello, you're so cute and so nice. You want to F?" Now, I want you to follow the logic here. How often, once both of them do this in one day, 24 hours, in one 24-hour cycle, how many bodies do you think will be compared between the two? Who's going to get more of the sexual intercourse? And what would the body count will be between the two in that one day fashion between the man and woman that did this experiment?
I wouldn't be able to comment on know the body count, but yeah, more women will get some action once presenting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you know why?
Well, yeah, I think because like part of what you said and what I've learned too, that men don't really necessarily have that connection, even though you're physically gonna have sex. But also, men have said that they don't really want to reject women too. So there's kind of you could reject a woman if you really wanted to, but women don't tend to really get rejected like that either. Like we're more prone to rejecting men, and I feel like that's more of the norm also. And even traditionally, we just know to be like no, and plus, I would say historically, women's sexuality has been suppressed for many years.
Yes.
And we're taught to not even like kind of show any type of sexual vulnerability, because if so, then like you're bad, or you're not being right, you're not being a lady. But when it comes to men, we say, oh, that's your man being a man. So you guys always get a pass with that too.
It's shaming a woman so she don't explore her sexual desires to have and engage in many sex with the dudes that they're deemed sexually attracted to. I agree. And mind you, when I asked this question to the same woman, I can't say it's my friend, but I knew her for a while, and I've been reacquainted with her. She feels that the man is going to have more sex than women. And I asked her to explain. Now, she could not explain because she looks at herself that I would not be going out and sleeping with dudes if I go that. But I say, yeah, look at yourself behind the lens of just a person that just go out there and present yourself and just ask the question. Because when we talk about numbers and bodies, it is very difficult, depending on the male, if he looks good or not. It's not the same easy for a man to sit there, just go out in the world in front of just random women and ask, I want to F. Because like you said, there's certain societal norms. Some women will think about it. And some women, let's be honest, depending if she's already promiscuous, she'll be down with it. You know what I'm saying? With a certain fella. You get me? If she feels that she's sexually attracted to. You get me? If she's attracted to him in less than a minute, yeah. So when we look at the dynamics of cheating, it is something to look at that, but much broader. You get me? That dick is everywhere, Kai. It's just that a woman chooses how many dicks she chooses to entertain. It's not the same thing with a dude. There's a lot of pussy out here, but not every dude's gonna get every pussy out here. You get me? They might have to do some things just to manipulate, to maybe do things to get this woman coerced to get the draws. So That's why when you always think about it. Why is it that when dudes really get caught, it's so easy? Because let's be honest, 9/10 of the time, some dudes are lucky to even get it, and another thing, they're very sloppy if they do get it.
Wait, what do you mean by
So it's not as
sloppy?
easy as it is. You get me? And mind you, when women do it, a lot of dudes, let's be honest, they're not being Inspector Gadget. They're not being FBI's on us, investigating your phone, breaking your phone, tracking you down. Majority of dudes don't have time for that. I heard some dudes on certain social medias, and I talked to one personally, that his one concern is that his woman will have sex behind her back, right? This nonsense. And I'm saying, how will you know? Are you going to spend money on a PR, a private investigator, to really watch? You know that TV show, Cheaters?
Yeah, but I think that skit is what do you call it? What's the staged? I think it's staged though. At least a lot of them, yeah. Especially when I saw the guy in a costume at the hotel jumping around like he didn't have no sense. It was a black dude, like maybe 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I said they're playing around. They're just doing this for the camera. That's what they're doing. Some might really be cheating, but it's I don't believe it.
Yeah, you know what? I was always thinking about that because anytime they put things on television, it's always staged to draw an audience and draw viewers. Personally, in my opinion.
Yeah, now it's on YouTube.
Is on YouTube now?
Yeah, and I don't watch it because I'm like, if it was real, I would take a look at it because then we can really, because the truth is going to come out because the camera's there. But if y'all playing games and just like, yo, I'm going to act like I'm this and we're going to pull up on you, everybody got time for that. And plus, another thing, to be honest, I'm seeing a lot of black people on there being used or using themselves, and it's very tacky. It's very tacky.
Well, they use us as the leverage to build their numbers up before they branch out personally.
Okay, yeah.
So I remember one time there was a scene that he got stabbed on a boat. The guy that was yeah. But yeah,
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, I saw that episode. But like I said, most of these things that's put on TV, you always got a question anyway. But it's a good testament, saying that a person has to spend money to figure out if their mate has committed infidelity because they just don't know. You get me? Now, like I said, men are stupid because 9/10 time there are more women than men, and sometimes men, if they have to do things just to get into a woman's drawers, he will do so if he's attracted to, and the woman agrees, regardless of the man is keeping real or not, she'll give in. And if he's so sloppy, like Kai, a woman's gonna find out eventually. It's just the other way around. Men are not gonna be that so eager to find out if their woman's cheating because it takes too much time, energy, and let's be honest, most dudes on the internet are too busy. They're doing things, they're being productive, working, or hustling, whatever you want to call it. So they're not gonna really have time. The only time if it really comes to play is, her behavior is changing and the dude has to start questioning it.
Oh, so is that what y'all look at? You could tell about it, like the change in behavior, possibly.
Not all the time, because every man is different, Kai. Every man has what they call either ego issues or has what's the word they call when they don't trust their woman? I forgot the name of it. You know what they call it?
If they're what? No longer
interested. They don't trust their woman. What they call that thing? They it slipped my mind. They're controlling.
Oh.
Yes, controlling. You get me? There are dudes that are very controlled because, let's be honest, some of them feel that their woman will screw behind their back, and they gotta control the relationship where they gotta control, make sure everything, even her phone, to know every action what she's doing. Now, I tell most women, be very careful with the controlling types, because those ones can be very violent.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as soon as you just said controlling, it took me there. Yeah, like violence.
Yeah, very, very violent. And there's too many cases where you see the dude either, doing some things that God willing, and I'm trying to keep it clean as possible because I know people will get triggered. I say this, look at Miles Bridges example. I'm not sure why he went and did what he did to his wife, but has some in relationship. There's some here's a rumor. They said that she one time showed herself half naked in IG.
Who's this person?
Miles Bridges. He's a forward for the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, I meant to go back to that. It came up too, but I didn't look into that. Yeah, so I didn't have any information on it even now. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay.
Yeah,
So what did
I've
he
done
do? Can you just briefly
but,
mention what he did? Did he beat up his
he has
girlfriend or wife?
no, they're married. He beat his
Yeah.
wife.
Okay, so
And
wife.
for
Okay.
and from some reason, because I have an IG, I followed the article, and I'm not sure if I still have it on my page on YouTube, but it seemed to me in her quote in the article said, "I cannot hide this anymore." So if a woman said, "I cannot hide this," that means she's been constantly getting abused physically by this dude for some time. Now I'm not sure how long they've been married. They have 2 kids, but if you've been saying, "I cannot hide this no more," it came to a point where you had to just sit there and say, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna expose him." In a time where he's supposed to be getting a bigger contract,
Oh.
or what we call a bigger bag. Now,
And he has kids. I remember that. That is that
yeah,
part true too? Did you say it? They got kids?
they have 2 kids, one boy,
Okay.
I think 1 girl.
Yeah. Okay.
But my thing is this. Now, mind you, if he decided the bigger contract because he's still on his rookie contract, mind you, my good friend, Mr. I think his name's Sigma or whatever, he did the math on how much this man out of his rookie contract he was supposed to owe and pay. He gained on the average $16 million for 4 years. Now, I want people to understand when these players sign contracts, it's not they're gonna get this every year. It's supposed to accumulate to that amount in the time of the contract. Capiche? So, 16 million for 4 years, rookie contract, right? He did all the math after the taxes, after paying the agents, all the stuff. He only walks off roughly $1 million, or close to $1.5 million.
Somewhere between a couple million. Okay.
Now imagine now that he's going to get a divorce now, because he's going to divorce. There's going to be divorce. Okay, anytime anything like this comes out in the news, there's no way hell they're going to expect her and him to still stay in this, because there is signs of real abuse.
Mm-hmm. What's her nationality? Or her race, rather.
Let me see if I can.
Actually, I could look it up. I just thought you knew already. That's why I didn't look it up.
Do me a favor. Pull up her IG.
I don't do IG. I'll just look up the
Right,
what's his name? Miles
Bridges. But
Bridges.
I have her IG. I'll show you a picture of her.
I'll just look up his wife. Because it sounded more and more familiar when you're saying while you're talking about it. So someone must have spoke on it. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, her. She looked like mixed or whatever. Okay. Well, anyway.
Most likely she could be white. Likely so.
Yeah, she's basically like mixed or
she's
whatever.
White and everything. So I don't know if she's mixed, but I would assume that this woman's not black personally, because usually if they've been together since college, most likely these guys. I'm not saying most black men are not gonna marry black women. I'm not saying that, but by looks of her pictures, and I'm looking very detailed, this is not no big smoke. This looks like a straight either Hispanic or maybe some other version of a Caucasian woman personally. But that's just me. I'm not going that. But like I said, she's been dealing with abuse during their whole marriage since he's been in the NBA for some time now. So I guess one night they had a real serious fight up, and I guess looks like Mr. Bridges must have dared her to really expose it, because for her to put all those pictures out, I think she threatened him after the fuck up, the beat up. You know what I'm saying? Because she was able to walk and move a little bit, but she got like some broken lower body, and her face was fucked up. That she told him that after, she's going to show these pictures. I think, and I guess he don't give a crap, so that's why she showed the pictures on her social media. Because if you get beaten, physically abused, you've been getting this for a while now. Even to the point when this man is a big in the NBA, and mind you, Kai, this guy has got no real serious guaranteed contract. He got a rookie contract. Now, I'm telling people that's listening, I don't advocate domestic abuse. But if you already in this and you already getting hands on by your mate, the thing that comes to mind is, one, if you are staying, you're staying for something much bigger than eventually you're going to leave this dude. because there's no way hell that woman and I know every woman's different when it comes to abuse, but it still offends me that you can get killed in domestic abuse if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I always tell ladies this, and hear me, sweeties. If a man knocks your teeth or does whatever to you, and you have not put your hands on him, or you him are already fighting, or whatever the case may be, right? And you're not an aggressive woman, and you're not physically harming him, and he just takes aggression means to solve the problems. It's better you walk away and go to the shelters immediately. Because you hear the notion, if he hits you once, he is eventually going to do it again and again. That's for the ladies that are not known to be violent and take violent means for any arguments they have in a relationship. If a man decides to take his hands on you just to resolve problems because he cannot sit there rationally have discussion with you, sit down, conversate and all that stuff, and he decides that instead of talking out, he wants to use his fists to handle the problem towards you, yeah, it's time to walk away and leave quickly. I don't care if they say that this man could possibly threaten you or kill you. He's going to do it anyway. All it takes is one day. He goes off and he unleashes his wrath on you. It might be the end of you. Look at Chad Wheeler with his black girlfriend. All it took was one, all it took was one snap, and he almost took her life. I saw the pictures of her. Now, mind you, the media did not fall through after what Chad did to her. And it's obvious because he's white. And they are going to keep an eye on that. Because they want to keep portraying the big, bad, boogie black male.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, if you're not a violent woman and you're not known to be putting hands, and this is why I want to look at domestic violence now in the 21st century, I have to look at it as it could be either one-sided or a two-sided thing. I can't look at it just a man to sit there all of a sudden just knock you upside the head. There has to be some scenarios why a man will take aggression. You get me? Because aggression for a human being as always should be the last resort of any conflict. It should not be the first thing. Any person that goes through the primordial animalistic means to solve problems is not a person, especially in a relationship, you should be messed with. And this applies to you, fellas. If a woman decides to put hands to your head for whatever reason, you need to go too. But the only thing that's going to happen is going to go downhill and you're going to get violent and both y'all going, and trust me, it's going to be bloody. And I think these are things that we can control as people. There's no excuse for physical violence when it comes to relationship between men and women.
Right. And if you do
only
believe...
time when you have to take physicality is when you have to protect yourself. Period. If it's not that, I don't want to hear stories about, say, this man hit me on the side or she hit me on the side. I'm going to say, all right, what goes into this? And I need the honest truth. If you can't tell me, there's something that she's doing or you doing that you have to take automatic aggressive means to solve the problems. And I would tell them, that man and that woman, to escape and leave that relationship as soon as possible. Do not stay in it, because anytime a person is referred to violence, I don't care what it is, that's not something you don't want to be messing with. We gotta be civil as humans. Violence should only be in the arena when you have to protect your life. We are human beings. We're not animals. We're not effing animals. All right. Sorry.
Right. We shouldn't act like animals, but I do believe we're animals. But that's just me. But because we're so much like them, but we're just the smarter, dominant ones. But also, I think with being a female, there's men that say, you know what, but some of y'all are feisty and, don't put your hands on me and stuff like that too. I will say, as a woman, we know that we're usually the weaker one. So when we put our hands on you or just give you a bop or something like that, we really feel like we're not hurting you. But that's still not an hold on. That's not an excuse, so it's not good to do. Even if it doesn't matter, you're still being physical with someone that you care about. And don't get in the habit of it, because you may get it harder with it another time. And men will react. You're built different, somewhat mentally too, and of course physically. Men will react and can hook off on you, and they may regret it after, but you have to realize too that it's a man, and when men, you guys are more physical anyway and women are more emotional, we be done got knocked out and then be like, oh, well, but you put your hands on him first. So it's really not fair either way. But I do feel like as a woman, we do have to control ourselves too, because we do get upset. And if we're cheated on, one of the first things we might do is probably want to lay hands on you, to be honest, because you hurt us. And we know as women that you guys aren't really wired to be monogamous, to be with one woman anyway. But you told us that you told me you was going to do it. You was going to try to build this relationship with me, and this is what we're going to have. And then you don't, and it hurts really bad. I know me personally, like if my heart hurts, I want to hurt you. And I want to hurt you in any kind of way. I don't want to kill you or anything, but you know what I'm saying? Like it hurts so bad that we just be ready to go off and we will react. That's a human nature of us, but we do need to, I feel, be more, you know what I'm saying, be more aware of that. I just wanted to say that and get that out.
Okay, excellent. Now let's move forward because we're dealing with time here. You covered the sex toys thing. Let me add on about the sex toys because I've been listening. One thing about porn and toys, we have to understand that this is all a Eurocentric tool to fulfill unfulfilled desires and lustful desires between these other groups of people that we are indoctrinated and been ingrained and embedded for the last couple hundred years. That we'll start with a woman. You as a woman, once you entertain toys that deal with the physicality of a man, you have stepped in the realm of anti-socialism, disconnectivity. I'm just throwing words, don't follow me. And you have no type of connection bond of the opposite sex. And just want just a release. And in time, I don't care what people say, there can be consequence when you constantly want just a release by yourself. Constantly. And trust me, there are women that will let it rip, Kai. That they'll sit there and just bust pure nuts by themselves. And know what I'm saying? You're not engaged. There's no energy exchange. And
Right.
the human body is designed to exchange something. Including men. We get hurt too from this. You know what I'm saying? When we sit there constantly masturbating. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, anything we do like these things, toys or masturbation, these are serious addictions that one has to resolve and get under control. Now, the best way to, because we're going to deal with the problems, how to solve it. You must go do a serious purge. You must understand and monitor how often you have to always constantly feel like you have to bust a nut. And this falls to either side of man or woman. Because this urge is always biological in your brain. And you wire and program yourself to constantly do it with yourself. You're not doing it with the opposite sex. So you have to purge yourself from constantly doing it. And there are steps to do this. One of the steps, and it's always a good steps, is you have to monitor how often you bust and your age. Now, as we get older, we should be busting less, unless we exchange something or create, whatever. That would be the rule. I forgot the number of times something. I forgot what it was, but that's another story. But that's one thing to know how often you do it, and you have to do the reverse. You're going to have to sit there and monitor and say, okay, I do this once every, let's say, 5 or 2, 3 days. Instead of doing that, you say, once you reach that day, you always mark out and say, I am not going to do this. I'm going to condition myself. I don't care what I do. If I take cold showers, do so. That will start conditioning your psychology, your brain, to stop getting off and program yourself to constantly need to bust nut. And
See that cold shower thing? I've heard that.
Yeah,
I don't know about.
I threw it in there as a man. I can't say for a woman how that. I'm just saying this.
No, that's right. I've heard that, but but I get it. Maybe just substituting it for something else, maybe,
Yeah, you have to
make a
substitute
conscious
something.
effort to do it.
Yeah, you have to substitute it because you want to go past that calendar day where this is the average day you bust nut, and you have to really, once you start doing this for a week, you want to constantly do this for a month, and once you start getting a habit, you want to start add on and keep what's it called? you keep challenge yourself to say, okay, now I do it once every 5 days, and once I got that on wraps, now I'm gonna try to see do it once every 2 weeks. Once you start conditioning, it's like exercise. The brain has to start adjust, and your body and your sexual organs fall to play. Because they said the head and the private parts are one and the same. So you have to condition what your brain how to really control that from what's on top that goes to the lower end, and that takes practice. It's like exercise. You want a good body, you have to put in exercise. You got to do the work, and this thing will start get you in control in line of your sexual appetite, your habits. This could work not only for men but also work for ladies. You know, because let's be honest, we are sexual beings, and we do need it. It's not required. You won't die, but sex is always a good thing when it's needed. You get me? We don't want to
Yeah.
abuse anything, because when you abuse it, there are repercussions. One, it'll affect your inner body, your system, and it might lead to other problematic diseases in the long haul. I can't name the disease, but
Okay.
eventually it will have some effects. Now, I don't want to make people be afraid of me saying this, but like everything, not everything should be abused. Everything should be in serious moderation. And when it comes to
Yeah.
sex, if you're not having with the opposite sex, your moderation and what's going to happen could have some repercussions, and because something has to be exchanged, you know, and the human body has to exchange either fluids or whatever, you know. Now, a lot of
Yeah.
people say
So
fluid. You mean fluids? That means I mean if he goes into my pussy and he exchanges it. I said everything's an exchange. Now, not every time that you have sex, a child, you go a pregnant woman. That's another story. We're not going to that. There's different science in that. But usually the body is prone to really, some has to be given and some has to take. It's creation. It's a creation process. I give it, you take. So I
okay.
said that.
So we
What
got
else?
about a little under 15, maybe a little, just about 10 minutes left.
All right.
I was going to mention, and you just mentioned fluids. What I will say too is, and I had this in a video with pleasuring yourself. I think it was on a Wet Wednesday that I did. Um, what happened? Yeah, and I did giveaways too, some money giveaways. I'm looking forward to that too, you guys. So that'll be coming up soon. So I want to do some more giveaways with you guys to show my appreciation for people coming through to my channel, because it's little old me, but I like having big facts, and I appreciate y'all coming. What I did want to say was ejaculation in your sleep, like experiencing that has been kind of interesting to me, and nothing really embarrasses me, because I want to like just live life. And I think the less we get awkward or feel like, oh, who's gonna think, like, yo, it's my body, I don't know, I didn't do nothing. But it has to do with the zodiac too. Being a Scorpio, what is the most sexual sign in the zodiac, with a ruler of genitals. So when going without, particularly when you have a high sex drive, like you said too, like, try not to depend on masturbation, or other things to stimulate you and stuff like that. And if you do, like, not as often. But what I have noticed is, like, maybe every 3 months or so, like, it feels like fluid is backed up that needs to come out. And didn't, if I don't release it on my own, then it's going to come out on its own. So there was something with, maybe it's connected with my brain, with my body, or whatever, I don't know. But I like being more in control of my body. But I'm a woman. I don't know if that really makes that much of a difference. But I don't see anything really wrong with people, masturbating and stuff like that, because it's your body, But I think we would rather and should rather be with someone, so that, like you said too, we're exchanging that energy. But not everyone has someone, or whatever the situation is, so you just make do with what you have. But like you said too, moderation with most things in life is going to help keep your life balanced. So I do believe in that too. But yeah, I didn't know. I thought only males had wet dreams. I've never heard no woman talk about it. Never, and I know like with me, like I don't really have anyone to talk about, this type of stuff. So I just keep it to myself and then do research to, help basically help me figure stuff out that maybe I'm not really understanding on my own, so I do that. But
You know, it's interesting. You talk about when the body has to constantly release some form of fluids. I get that. I understand that. The reason why I'm saying this is to get control of the body again. Because, like I said, when we do it too often, and we always got to keep in mind of the age, and it depends on the gender. Because men, we can't be busting like that because we have to retain a certain amount of sperm because it is blood coming from the brain and stuff. So we have to be monitored as men, so it's a little different from women. But always, this approach is to get control of oneself in the body. Now, if you have wet dreams, like any lady that you experience it and it comes, that's fine, that's natural. And if you have to release it, that's fine. But I always say this so you don't, I tell people, you don't want to let your body dictate and you're always constant on a bus for a reason. And then we have to be in control of our own, not only our subconscious mind, but our own inner bodies. Because usually the body is always going to want something that we program to do. And we want to give it the right program so that way we prolong not only our life, but our way of mental stability and our spirituality as well. Because sex, at the end, is a spiritual act if we do it right. You could connect very well and have that inner special connective, not with a person, but you also were able to start healing your body properly. Really properly. Because people don't understand, every part of our sexual organs is in line with every organ in our body. So the longer we are in this act with each other, in the mood of it, the body starts to slowly start engage in cleansing and healing certain properties of the organs. But we don't know that because we're always, as a race of people, just in general, we feel that only time we connect is in the bedroom and that's it. And we're very much disconnected because the mind and body and how we view ourselves is very reflective. And if we're viewing negative thoughts and actions, it's going to portray in the bedroom. So, keep that in mind.
Sexual healing.
Yes, you hear all the old G's one time say sexual healing. They're not lying.
I guess not.
And remember, I think it was the Temptations made songs about this, and they were the most top band back in the 70s.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Marvin Gaye.
So,
yeah.
And anything else?
So this
Kai?
was good. This was good. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, no. Yep. So this was good. Appreciate it. This was good too, because then I can get a little more out of this conversation too, and I'll probably do something solo or something. So yeah, this will be good, and then I'll probably have a guest coming up too soon, meeting new people, a little something. So that's pretty good. So yeah, yep, yeah, this was pretty good. People, please feel free to leave comments in the comment box below. When I talk about things, it's not always that easy. Just like I started to ask Chaos Rain, I didn't want to make him uncomfortable. But then again, I kind of feel like I'm putting myself out there. So, but, I appreciate being able to talk to you about things, on here, so,
Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the Kai NY007 channel.
Thank you.
For more juicy conversations, As you know, this is a grown, sexy stream right here. So, like I said, hide your children, hide them. And make sure you ladies and gentlemen get your nice couch, cuddle up. Don't watch the movie, watch our stream. And get ready to get it on. Let's get it on. Let's get it on.
Yes, thank you, Chaos Rain. And Chaos Rain, you see his name there, so that's the name of his channel too, if I didn't already mention that. So you can easily access that too. And I'll have the link directly to his channel, so you can just click right on it. So I'll have that in the description box for y'all. All right. So this was cool. All right. Appreciate you. I know you're busy too. You got something coming up now. So yes, really appreciate your time.
All right.
Okay. All right. Okay, so again, Kyle Y007. Appreciate whoever comes through. Yeah. Also with Chaos Rain, even I think even maybe a few years back, he has some juicy videos too, and he has some interesting material on porn and some taboo things. He's gotten quite a few views on those. Together, him and I have done porn talk. We haven't done that in a while. Probably have something for y'all for that too. I have to talk with him about it first. Probably before the summer's over. It's a hot summer. I'm burning up. I'm sitting here with the laptop. The laptop hot. I'm hot. Girl. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. And honestly, I don't really think you'll find some of the content that him and I do in too many other places. Whereas honest people, and we just want to talk about some things. Here on my channel, I enjoy talking about different things. Sometimes problems, but I always want to know how to solve them. I'm not big on adding problems like, oh yeah, here's another one, here's another problem. There's plenty of other people that just want to talk about problems. I like to problem solve. So that's what I'm about. If there's anything you have a question about or concern and you don't want to share it on here and you want to keep it confidential, I have an email set up. And I'll reiterate that at times too. And if it's not there, I will put it right back there because I had it there, then I removed it, but I'll put it back up there. So yeah, so that is that. And basically I'll just summarize things up quickly and then I'll end this. So we talked about some of the cheating. Is it cheating okay? Is it ever okay? Not sure. Chaos Rain said it was ever okay, but he said, it kind of depends on the person. I don't feel it's ever okay. Because if you're cheating, you've already, you've ruined the contract, verbal contract that you have with that person that you weren't going to do that. If there's ever anything that pushes you to want someone else bad enough to step outside, it would be great if you could just admit it to the person. It's very selfish of anyone to think that they have a good enough reason to break someone's heart, whether they know what you did or not. Not saying, any of us are perfect or anything, but you can just be the best you. When you're with someone else, I don't only feel I have to be the best me, but I want to help bring out the best you too. All right. Online, social media, all this stuff, if you have too much of it in your life and you're communicating with different people and you're being flirtatious, you're opening the door for possible disaster. All right. A lot of times people on here, they don't care about you. They just want a little attention or something. So somebody usually ends up getting hurt. Both people will swear they ain't hurt and this and that, but there's usually something there from both of them or maybe one of them. So just want to be careful of that. Be very, very, very careful of that. Toys and porn, nothing can replace anyone, like I said. If that's something you want to do or be into, like Chaos and I agree on, things in moderation. Yeah. And sometimes our bodies have a mind of their own. Like I'm not in control of my body while I'm asleep. So that's why I'm like, why does stuff happen while you sleep? But to me, that says, like there was something needed and that was the time for it to take place. It comes through a dream. You can be aroused through your dream and then next you're ejaculating or you wake up and you've ejaculated. So, there's that too. And then to me, it just reassures me too of how important sex is. And, what's better than to have it with someone that, you really have a great energy with, and at least that's a start. Okay. So yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up now. Yeah. So I'll have some things coming up. I'm going to talk about autosexuals. That was on a channel by Abba and Preach. I'm a subscriber of theirs for some years now. They always have pretty good content. And I was like, what is an autosexual? So when I looked it up, it said someone that's in love with themselves. So if you're in love with yourself sexually, though, you're called an autosexual. And then I want to know, we're going to go over some other things. I'll think of like another topic or two. And yeah, so that'll be that. And eventually you guys let me know, because I'll see how soon I may, do a live panel and, have that on YouTube too. So in a way, it sounds kind of selfish to be autosexual, but the autosexual is just people that just say they're aroused by themselves. They are like so into themselves. And I didn't think to mention that when we was on there too, but that's what that means. So I was like, that's interesting. But then on the other hand, it sounds like it could be kind of a reason to kind of have an excuse for being alone, I don't know. So, okay. So that was interesting. Oh, and to take that, if you heard earlier on, the Chaos said women are almost getting up there with the percentage of cheating like men. But we have different reasons. Women could be boredom, lack of intimacy, things like that. With men, there's usually no connection when they go out and have sex with someone else. Even though, like, deep down, we still feel like, man, you got something going or something, even if it's small. But they really are, I guess, and you heard it from the man himself, Chaos Rain. Men, don't have much of a connection or no connection at all. It's time when they step out or just, in general of having sex with someone, that's it. One last thing, too much drama is a dysfunction. That's how I feel about that. In relationships with men and women, with women, we can be, kind of into drama a bit more in our emotions. And there's women that feel like they know a man loves them if he gets dramatic with them. If there's drama, then, oh yeah, he loves me. He got to show me that, What you're really looking for is a reaction. You're really looking for the man to assure you that he cares, but you want him to go crazy and be mad if he thinks something or this and that proves his love to you, and it shouldn't, because now you're getting the man upset and you guys are upset with each other, and that could lead to other things and even a possible breakup. There was something on lip service recently. I was on Infame Dome panel late last night, and we watched lip service, and the girl said, yeah, you she said something like, he said, pull a gun out or something, or pull something out, let me know you don't want me to leave, and we have our ups and downs, but then we have good sex. It's like, y'all missing out. People come on TV and brag about having good sex because you had a fallout. You need to brag about just having good sex, honestly, and then that's it. And these days, everyone wants to put all the information out. Like, some stuff saved for you and that person you with. We don't need to really know everything. And best believe, it's good to share, but best believe, the more you tell, too, about your relationship, sometime it could come back and bite you. You just got to be real careful of that, I feel like. But, yeah, for the ladies and the men out here, you don't need extra drama in your life to prove that your relationship is popping or ain't, it's like you're being very toxic. And what example are you setting for other people or your children? Some people have kids. Like, she had kids, too. And something like, oh, I don't want to die today, I got kids. You might laugh or whatever, but it's really not funny. A lot of women are out here being slayed. They're being killed. It's by men that they've known a long time and some that they hooked up online with and things like that. A quick hookup or whatever, and then they don't wake up. Okay? And sometimes it's drugs. Fentanyl. I did a video on that. That's one of the number one killers in the world. You take that, and sometimes you overdose, and you don't wake back up. So I just suggest you stay awake while you woke. You're alive now. We got to use these brains that we have and pay attention to flags. Like in what I mentioned earlier, maybe in the title, red flags. I feel like red flags are usually there. It's up to us to be aware and acknowledge them. If you ignore them, then we see what happens if you do. So that's pretty much that. Yeah, so I promote healthy relationships. I know we're not perfect, but, let's just try to add more positivity. We'll all be happier people when you're happier in your life. You won't be online all miserable and stuff, maybe if you had sex or maybe had a good relation with, someone personally, or people, because some of y'all are just casual, or you might want one person, whatever your preference. But okay. Again, thank you for tuning in. This is Kai and Y 007. I'm right here on YouTube, and I very much appreciate y'all coming out and coming over to my channel and checking this out. All right. And again, feel free to leave a comment there, or you can take advantage of a private email. Any emails will not be, won't say, who sent the email, like I said, because sometimes you may just have something you want to talk about, and that's fine, but if it's something, too, that could be good to add to some content, too, that can be done, too. But, it depends on, what's going on and everything, okay? All right. So, yeah, so it's that there. Okay, and that's it. Thank you again. It's Kai and Y 007. Peace.
I like KIY, NY, 007.